Well, once again guys, the AC unit has quit, and this means, no air conditioning, no heat, which we don't really need heat right now, but this thing played out again. Just went on the our 2-week shutdown at work, and was going to try to work in the shop and get some stuff done, but the AC quit, and this time it's going to cost about $850 to fix. Looks like the compressor has sprung a leak and all the freon's run out of it. Now this thing is 20 some years old, so it's gave its best life. So what I did, I went online and ordered this LG and got it in, and this is 18,000 BTU. It's got this AC and also has heat supplement, because with the big unit being out, not only does it cool the shop, it heats the shop in the winter time. Well, it's close to the end of July, and we don't need no heat right now, but we're going to. So instead of spending $850 to put a new compressor in the other unit for right now, I went ahead and bought this LG unit. Now it's 220 volts, so I had to get some wire run to it from the panel box. But the bad thing was, the whole time on vacation, I wasn't out to able to get out here in the shop and do anything, because the temperatures in here during the daytime when the air is off reach over 95 degrees. It gets pretty warm in here. So what I'm spending this weekend doing is finishing up this Icon YC 745. It had the issue where the tremors was drifting off, and it was causing a problem. Now I'm going to go ahead and warn you guys, finding the original replacement tremors is gotten hard to do. I was able to find someone that had a few, so I went ahead and bought those. But I bought some from eBay, from overseas. They're a little bit different size than what we've been using. I've tried them in another radio. You can make them work, a little more touchy, but I finally found the original replacement tremors and gotten this one. So I've got a few more things in this one to do this weekend, and get this thing buttoned back up and get it back to the owner, and then that only gives me 2 more pieces that's really been giving me a trouble that I can get fixed up and get them back to the owners. Then I got a few little odds and ends for folks that I'm working on. And that's the problem, is getting out here in the shop and working on this stuff for other people and not getting time to do what I need to do. Like, I love to have been making some more videos, since I haven't been able to get out here in the shop in 2 weeks, but I want to get this other stuff finished up and get it going. Then I'm going to start limiting the amount of stuff that comes in here, because honestly I got enough stuff in here to make videos on for 2 years. So we ain't never going to run out of stuff to make videos on. But I wanted to get in here right quick and just do a little odds and ends video for you guys, show you a couple of things that are going on, a few things I picked up and whatnot. So I had a viewer contacted me, Mr. Everett, and asked me if I would be interested in another Yaesu FT-101B for parts, and I said sure. He wanted to give it to me, and I paid the shipping on it. I said sure. So we always need Yaesu FT-101 parts, and this is the 101B, and he told me that it has some issues and stuff's been taken out of it. But I said yeah. So he went ahead and shipped this to me, and I looked it over, and yeah, it's going to be a parts rig. I'm not going to attempt to try to fix it, but the other FT 101B that we purchased had a broken POIC-ALC switch, and I had went on that same week that we were making the deal on this and went on eBay and went ahead and bought this whole bezel with the switch in it and got that installed in the other 101B. If I would have known that before I purchased this one, I would just wait and took this one. Now the little strip here that has Yaesu written on it is faded out quite a bit, but you know, the bezel looks okay, and you can see, you can just read it. Now all the other Yaesus, this is a raised leather panel. On the B's, they were printed on this strip of tape, and some was black, some was brown. This one looks like one of the brown ones, but the leather has faded off real bad. Another thing, the 101B that I have, a lot of the lettering is rubbed off of it, and this one is the front of it is in pretty, might as well say, pristine condition. So with that said, the front panel, like I said, has a little scratch over here, and there's a couple little scratches around the microphone. Now something that somebody did was drill a hole and put this toggle switch in it. It's kind of interesting because this toggle switch is wired up to pin 9 and 12 of the low frequency board, just like the other 101B we had. So this has to be some type of CB mod. But the good thing is I can take this front panel and swap it out with the other 101B, and that will make that radio look good. Also, if you notice, the ring around this one is chrome, and I'm sure somebody removed the paint from it and polished it, and it looks fairly nice. But here's something I wanted to show you. Now when this 101 came in, for a moment I thought it still had plastic in it, but you can see just how glossy this front panel is. You can see the reflections of the knobs into it. In fact, you can see the reflection of this pointer. I mean, it's just in excellent condition, and it's the whole panel is like that. It just looks real good. I know it's hard to see on camera, but that front panel is just excellent. So I know some of them gonna be hollering, "Hey, you need to fix it, you need to fix it." Well, it's just too much has been removed out of this. Now all the boards are in it but one. There's one board been removed. And see, I have another 101E, I believe it was, that's missing the top and bottom cover. Well, here's a replacement for it. Now this is missing the locks, but we can find those on eBay. And if you look here, we got one board here inside that's missing. The module that plugs in here is missing. But this gives me more replacement boards that I can get checked out and use in other radios, and some other parts in here that I can use. Now, what's the big thing that's missing? There's no transformer. The transformer, DC converter, and everything's been taken off of it. Also, there's no tubes in this radio, and the reason there's no tubes is also the tube sockets have been removed. But you know, that's okay. That's fine. I needed a parts radio, and now I got one. Now I've already checked. This radio does have a full complement crystal pack in it, so it's got all the original crystals that come in it. So there's some extra crystals for the 101s. So yeah, we're going to salvage this radio, get some parts off of it, and what I'll do when I swap out the faceplate, I'll put the other faceplate right back on it. And I might just end up taking this rig and making a test rig out of it. I can wire up an external power supply just to get the low voltages that I need to test certain things, certain boards. You know, plug a board in, you can test it in this radio. If I, you know, depending on how I wire this thing up, and you know, it can be a good little test chassis for doing that. So again, you know, thanks Mr. Everett for sending this in, this valuable radio here for just the parts alone that we can use, and get the other 101B looking the way it should look. So the other gentleman that I got the first 101B from, he contacted me again and said, hey, I got 2 more pieces that I didn't notice until later on if I would be interested in them. And what we got is the FV-101B, and this is the external VFO. Turn it around. See, we do have the cable that goes with it. And he also had the monitor scope. This is the Yaesu-100 monitor scope. Now he told me that the control was missing on the horizontal position and the knob was gone. Well, when I opened the unit up, the control and the knob was just laying inside. So I stuck it back on and went around, looked at a few things, and we got a few problems that's got to be fixed in it so we can get this thing here up and running. The VF-101B, it looks great. Has a little blemish on the top here, about 2 inches long, and some 3 little rust dots up there, so something got put on it, but other than that, it looks real great. The Yaesu-100 scope, it's going to require a repaint. It's got a little surface rust on it, which it could be cleaned up and look better without having to do any paint, but I'm going to have to get with my automotive supplier over here and get them to mix up some paint. And I think I can use this VFO cover as something that they can scan to make this paint with. But that's 2 more nice pieces I can add to the collection of the 101Bs. Now, I think some of you guys know just how bad I've been trying to find a Yaesu FR-101 to go along with my FL-101s. You know, I got 3 of them, but I own no receivers for them. Well, I had a gentleman contacted me and said, hey, I got something that you might not can turn down. And sure enough, he had a FR-101S, and I'm glad it's the S because it's the analog dial, and my transmitters are analog dials. Now the prices of what these things are going for are just crazy. People are very proud of them, but I run across this one and went ahead and made the deal and purchased it from them. And you know, it's still got the plastic on the front. It's in good looking shape. The cabinet looks good on it. It's not all scratched up or anything, but it just looks great. Now it's dirty, it needs cleaning up. You see some of the knobs on it are a bit dirty, but it wipes right off. Now there is some problems with it, and I played with it for about 30 minutes one day and got it receiving. It's not receiving like it should, but I was able to get it work. There's some dirty contacts and stuff in it, I do know. But like I said, I could not turn down the price of this. It was just amazing how good people are out there. But the funny thing is, not only did I get an FR-101S, As you can see, I got another FR-101, and this is the transmitter. I did get it working. It's not putting out full power. I think the tubes are down in it, but it is working. And it was missing the VFO knob. Well, I had a VFO knob, but I'm missing the spinner that goes on it. But I have prefabbed some of those that I got in the drawer in here somewhere I need to find. I went ahead and stuck the knob on it. But also, there's a YD-844 Yaesu branded microphone. So this is the YD-844A, and these work real good with the 101 series. And there's a Landliner. Those of you that don't know what a Landliner is, it's basically just a speaker, but it has a circuit on it. So typically what the Landliner is it's a speaker, but it also has a circuit in it where you would connect it to a telephone line. And what you could do is have somebody like overseas talking on the radio back to the other radio station with the Landliner, and you would switch it off on, and it was a relay, so that the person on the radio could talk to somebody on a telephone or through a landline. And basically it's used a lot during war times back in those days, and this is how some of the soldiers would talk back to their loved ones here in the state, was through using a landliner, or as some people call it, a phone patch. And that's where the term where you see on a lot of TVs, people talking on the radio would say over, and that was so that the operator at the control station would know that they're finished talking, and then he would key his transmitter. And if you notice, a lot of the old transmitters back then had a CN button or PTT button, so they would just simply push the PTT button, which put the radio in transmit, and the person on the telephone could talk back to the other person that's on the radio on the other end. And when they say over, he would go back to receive, and the other person would go ahead and talk. But anyway, I'm tickled to have these pieces. Now, I know I'm going to keep a couple of the 101s, and I know someone else that has a receiver that doesn't want to get rid of it, so I'll probably end up making a deal with him and getting him a transmitter to go along with his receiver. So I really appreciate the guy bringing these to my attention, and for the great sale, great experience with them. Like I say, I bought all this for way less what I would have paid just for a receiver, and I sure appreciate it. So that's more stuff we get to make videos on. So one of my sort of kind of locals here that come by from time to time went out and bought a bunch of stuff from its state sale, and he brought this piece by and dropped it off for the shop. Now this is a B&K Precision power supply. It's the model 1649, and it's 0 to 16 volts, 10 amps. Well built power supplies. They're constant current. Even this older technology, it's constant current. Don't think it is constant voltage, I do believe. In fact, yeah, CV right here with the green light, so constant voltage. The banana jacks are not in too good a shape. They're positive. It's froze up, won't even turn. But we're gonna have to pour this down, so that'll be another video, and we'll restore this, replace the capacitors, check all the solder joints, any heated components and stuff. And I happen to have a set of red, green, and black banana jacks, and these are some comes like you see on the key fleas and different things like that, different supplies like that. So we'll be replacing these out with these better style banana jacks and putting that on it. So appreciate him bringing this by and dropping this off to us. So we can always use another power supply. Yeah, I've got several here on the bench, but sometimes you need several supplies when you're repairing and checking out stuff to substitute supplies with, and being current, constant current, constant voltage will help when doing that. So guys, we still got the ICO 324 that we're giving away. So if you haven't went to that thread, I'll leave a link down below, and put in your, let me know that you want it. And I think in the meantime I'm gonna go ahead and paint the cabinet on this myself. I think I might go ahead and do that. I'm not sure, but we'll see. I might go ahead and do it. But we're gonna run this for about another week, then we'll go ahead and give this thing away. Well guys, we're out here in the garage, and since I wasn't able to get in the radio shop and do any work due to the AC being out, I went ahead and took the time and came out here in the garage and did some cleaning. Now I know it's still a lot of stuff. It doesn't look like it's much cleaning, but trust me, there was a lot of stuff came out of here. And I still got some stuff on the far workbench behind that tarp that's got to be cleaned out and got rid of. But the shop was just too hot. There's no windows in there. There's no way to put no fan in it and get it below 90 degrees. So at least out here I got several fans I can run, and I can get it down with a breeze in here and make it able to work with no problem. As long as you got fans going on. Now right now I got the fans off because I've already come out here and did a video on this, and when I went to edit, that's all you could hear were those fans running, and that was no good. So I'm having to redo this part of the video. But I've been working on the old McCabe lathe sitting over there, and it was here in the middle of the floor, and everything's on it's complete, all but painting the bed and the legs. So that's what I got to do next. And I said I was going to make the videos on restoring that and putting it on my second channel, and I've made the videos on it, and I decided not to upload them until I got the last video done. So sometime in the next couple of weeks I'm going to get the front side of the bed painted and rest of the legs, and then I'll start uploading that. It's probably about 8 videos, maybe 9 on it. Get back, getting some videos up on the second channel. And there's several things that we're going to do on the second channel besides just machine work, like this engine here sitting on the this little roll around workbench. This came off a Kubota mower. That's a Kawasaki liquid cooled. It has a radiator in it, and the engine was leaking oil and knocking. So I thought the rod bearings or the rods were gone. Actually the rods were in good shape, and we done mic'd the rod journals and the rods, and they're within spec. But what the issue was, when I pulled this crank out, I noticed this end on the flywheel end just had material stuck all to it, which I put in the lathe, turned it off, got it back right, and the top bushing was gone. How? I don't know. I don't know if somebody's removed it, if it got loose, and I don't know. There's no metal in the engine. I don't know how it happened. So I went ahead and ordered an oversized bushing, and we'll fit that and put this in it. See if we can get this engine back going, clean it up, and put it back in that Kubota. But this is some of the stuff I'll be doing out here. So one of the other reasons I wanted the shop back, or the garage back, cleaned up, well, I can get back onto one of my older hobbies that I've been out of for a while. And there's two reasons I've been out of it. Didn't have the room to do anything, and there's no suppliers locally to buy stuff from. Everything has to be purchased online, which can be a bit of a pain, you know. Nothing like walking into a brick and mortar building and looking at stuff and picking up what you want. And but anyway, and that is RC airplanes. Now you see I got one on the bench there that I'm working on. But we look up in the ceiling. They are hanging everywhere in here. We start here. That's a little foam Piper J3 Cub, and then this one used to be an electric Piper J3 Cub. Now that's a balsa kit, and it's been converted over to gas. Behind it, behind the tail fin there, is a Sig Cadet Mark II. This one is a Freedom 20. You can see hanging running there is a Sig Cadet LT-40. That is a laser cut balsa kit, and is a great flying plane. Behind that, all the way back there in the back, you can see the tip of it sticking out here. I think you can get a better look at it right there. That's a Sig Cadet Senior. Then hanging up here at an angle right here is a big stick made by Great Plains. And then here is another Sig Cadet Mark II. Now sitting over here on the lathe is a what's called a Wild Hawk, and actually Harbor Freight sold that airplane, and that is a great flying foam aircraft. And it's got a skid mark on the front. I didn't do that. That plane there belonged to my brother, and his son decided he could fly it one day, so he took it out and crashed it and broke the fin on the back, which I done fixed it and flew it a couple of times, and it flies great. Now this aircraft here is a hand built. Someone made it by scratch from a set of plans. This is also called the Big Stick. I think they just downloaded some, or found some plans or whatever, and built this plane. And this is the wing for it, and I think it's 48-inch wing. And the story behind these planes is that a guy in the 60s wanted to build an aircraft to test radio control systems with, and this is the design he made, and he only did it to, you know, so he can test his radio controllers and servos and stuff. Well, the plane flew so well that he released the plans to it, and a lot of people built those things back then. Now several manufacturers have come out and made a redesign, just like the one hanging up in the ceiling over here. This one, that's made from Great Plains, and there was several companies sold kits way back when, and I actually bought this plane and this one that we're looking at here from the same guy. This one here was just actually thrown in. The other one was a complete plane, engine, everything on it, and radio system. But this one was in sad shape. I mean, it was terrible. And I did do a video on fixing the back end of this plane, but I had two fans out here running, and the only way I can make that video work if I was go in and do a voiceover on it, because that fan noise. This Canon camera has such a sensitive microphone, and that's why I wanted to go with this a microphone system, so I could control the audio a little better. And I won't running it at the time, but yeah, it was just, the audio is completely wiped out through the whole video because of the fans running. Now this airplane, most people would have took this and just tossed it in the trash. But the guy that built this, the way my understanding is, he's passed away, he's no longer with us. I decided it'd be a great airplane to restore. Now the whole tail end of this aircraft was completely broke off and gone, and the only thing that was left is the vertical stabilizer, the elevator, and that's half of the rear stabilizer, horizontal stabilizer. That's all that was left on it. Now this is one that I've made, reproducted. I've downloaded the plans off the internet, and you can see doing it like that. That was exactly half of the original stabilizer. I did put in some end pieces on both sides just to give the wings some shape, but I went ahead and reproduced the horizontal stabilizer and rebuilt the whole back of the aircraft along with the inside, so now the fin goes in, locks in place, and can be epoxied. Now this plane was left out in the weather and it got wet, and some of the balsa on it. Now they used 3/16 balsa on this plane. The front bulkhead is 1/2 inch plywood, so it's pretty steady, and it dried out, and I don't see any problems with it. As far as structural of the fuselage, I think the plane will be okay. Now I've got to go inside and tear out these braces. In fact, that one's already out, and clean up the inside, re-epoxy the inside on the front so it'll be fuel proof. And I went ahead and made a new cowl cover on it, and I've added this lip right here, and that's because the way this plane is designed, when the air comes over, it hits the front of the wing kind of hard. So with that lip I added, this will give the air something to transition over the front wing pretty good. Now the wing's in great shape. If it weren't for the a few holes and stuff that's been knocked in it, you can see this one there, and that's one there, which is good because that's right over the bell crank inside. I'm able to check that out. So all these bell cranks are going to have to be replaced because they're old. See a couple of holes there, and some nicks and scratches on the bottom of the monocoque. That's for the servo mounts here in the center for the ailerons. Now the thing about the big stick is, people love these planes that's flown them. They are great stunt planes because of the flat wing design. And if you look head on into the wing, you can see it's not a flat bottom wing. It's a airfoil shaped design on top and bottom. So this plane gives good snap and very responsive when you're flying it. However, if you slow your rates down and don't overpower this, you put like a 20 or 25 on it, this also becomes a good trainer plane. This thing will just start floating in the air, It's just a good plane to fly, either stunt or trainer. So very nice old aircraft. So yeah, if you're in the RC airplane and you never had a chance to fly a stick, build you one. I think you would love it. I don't know of any kit manufacturers that's even making one now, but the plans are on the internet, and you can print them out and build right off the plans. Easy airplane to build. It's all solid balsa fuselage, and the wing is just, you know, I think it's got 12 ribs in it, and the leading edge is balsa. But it's an easy airplane. It's a great airplane to fly. So looking up here in the attic over the garage door, you can see a fairly large aircraft hanging up there. That's the 11 foot from tip to tip, and that is a quarter scale Piper J3 Cub. And you can see that all the covering has been removed off of it. It's got to be redone, but that's a great airplane. So I'm gonna be getting that thing down here sometime in the next few months, and going through it, getting it back together so it can be put back up in the air. And hanging over there on the wall is the wing for the SIG Senior. That's 78-inch wingspan on that aircraft. That's the one that was hanging in the very back there. So again, as you can see, a lot of the planes I have has all the covering removed off of it, and that's because they were in storage for so long that the covering got holes and stuff poked through them and has to be redone, and the planes just need to be gone through. And the honest way you can really check out an airplane is to remove all the covering. Even this big stick here, I got to remove the covering off the wings. That way I can go and inspect the ribs, re-glue anything that's cracked or broken, and get that repaired, and then get them recovering. And I think monocoat now is going for about 16 bucks a roll. It's not cheap. So back years ago, we used to cover airplanes with this stuff, and this is just like a tissue paper. And you can see this is old. It's probably 30 years old. But you go in and just glue down the edges on, like if you're going to do this and you wrap it over, you would glue down the edges, spread it out, glue down the other edge, and then wet it, and it would get real sloppy looking, and it would sag. But once it dried, it went on as tight as a drum, and then you would just cover it with dope. And no, not the kind you smoke. It's a liquid stuff called dope, and it actually made a real nice covering, which you had to sand it and paint it, you know, and you would put several layers of it on there, and several layers of dope. It's a lot of work. It's very time consuming. You got to do it in the open, because that dope is just some bad stuff. You don't want to be breathing it in that much. But this new stuff that they use now, this monocoat, is real easy to put on. Especially, you know, you tack it and heat it. You use a little iron and a heat gun, and you know, you can pretty much just roll it on, and it becomes very tight. That two things that really made model airplane was monocoat and CA glue. So you could build quicker with CA glue instead of using wood glue, clamp it together, let it dry, and move on. The CA glue is a super glue for wood, and it's instant. When you stick something on there, boom, it's bond. That's it. So guys, that's it for now. Now that we got some air conditioning back in the electronic shop, we can get in there and work, and if it does turn cold on us, like it also got heat in there now, I think this system is going to be a little bit more noisy with the system being right in there than over what the other unit was. But you know, it's just how it's got to be. I'm going to have to play around with microphones to help eliminate that noise. So anyway, I'll try to you know, get some videos done, get them up. I've got one I'm still working on Patreon, on the Kenwood 940. That's going to be up on Patreon. You know, we did a video on it not long ago with changing out the power supply, but there's a video going up on Patreon for it. Now, if there's any of you old timers out there that's been in the RC for a long time, familiar with this engine, I would love to know. I picked this up a while back. This is called a tartan, and they said it was a 1.55 cubic inch. I have not been able to find any information on it whatsoever, but the rings are gone. As you can see, it's got no compression whatsoever. I mean, the rings are completely gone on it, and I need to find a set of rings. If I cannot, I'm going to end up having to go on the lathe, finding some material, and make a set of rings. So that needs to be done, and I need to rebuild the carburetor. And it's the same style carburetor like you see in a lot of weed trimmers and stuff, you know, dual needle, high and low jets. But I want to get this engine back together and get it running like it's supposed to. I would like to try this, since it's an old school engine, on that quarter scale Piper Cub. I think this will be plenty of power for it. That's a 13-inch prop on this thing. So if anybody is out there has got any information on one of these, I'd love to hear from you. Alright guys, that's it for now. I just wanted to throw up an odds and ends video. Like I say, I have not been able to get in the shop due to no AC, but that's been fixed. It's been going on 3 weeks now since I've been able to do anything in there. So we're going to get some videos up here to go on the second channel, some RC stuff, and the big old McCabe metal lathe, and we'll get those loaded up out there. So guys, hope you enjoyed it. It was a quick little video, just some odds and ends stuff I just wanted to share with you. And I'd like to hear your comments down below. If you would, hit that like button, that always helps. And if you haven't, please subscribe. And guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye now.